Hello, this is Retro81, and what I'm about to explain to everybody is why this broadcast is not really conveyed or expressed just right for broadcasting. So the reason I'm not really broadcasting just so perfect or elegantly, or how to say it, maybe I'm not so pleasant when I'm broadcasting, but this is due to not being trained to broadcast, and this is due to not understanding or being aware of how I sound. Just like basic concepts in broadcasting, you got to be aware of yourself, the way you're sounding, and the way you're presented online. Now, be prepared to hear me talk, and I wasn't thinking when I was saying these things. Be prepared to hear me talk faster with some pleasant, deep sounding or not so pleasant, like with some aggression in my voice. But that's because of the hormones, the testosterone, the adrenaline in me, whatever, the hormones in me are all amped up because I do train karate and martial arts still, and I have like a pretty imbalanced life without being recognized from my karate federation who I am and what I'm supposed to represent. Now, I do train, but I'm explaining briefly, and maybe not briefly, but it's just hard to really say. There's a lot I'm saying, and there's different expressive points I'm trying to make about Tekken 8 and how these ideas became real. Because they're not putting this game out yet in the States, but this all came from me too. This is Retro81. Hello, this is Retro81. I want to say, okay, let me go back. I'm very honored and happy that people are following my channel. I'm very happy. I welcome you to my channel. Thank you for tuning in to Retro81. Thank you. And yes, okay. So I'm very honored that people follow my channel. Thank you. Yes. Please subscribe to Retro81. Doing this all myself. I'm gonna explain the correlation that I have in my karate training with this new video game that's coming up, Tekken 8. In the next part that you'll see after this, you're gonna understand how I clearly correlate to this. And I repeat myself maybe 2 or 3 times, but I give more of an explanation to why I'm repeating something about this, because I'm trying to make a clear point across. And I probably talk pretty fast and pretty aggressive, but I'm not trained to broadcast very well, everybody. I'm trained in the martial arts, so you can only imagine I talk like I'm having a martial arts sparring match. And really, it's not, it may not be as pleasant as you can imagine. The running that they use in Tekken 8 came from that tournament I trained at Silverado 2022. I believe that the people who created this Tekken 8, these ideas came from me. And that's why Jin runs. He runs back to his opponent. But the reason, the reason for the loss in this match, or this, fight, whatever, it's not a real fight. Those karate tournaments are not real fights. But the reason for that is because what was I saying? Okay, I think I forgot. Oh, about the running. Was it about the running? I don't know. They just use that. I don't even know what I was saying, but okay. I guess I lost my train of thought there. Forgot what I was talking about. Okay, alright, this is Retrorusic 81. Well, this is Retrorusic 81. And this is what happened to me. This is inspired by the tournament I had in I actually lost a tournament. And I'm just gonna be honest about this. I lost at a tournament. Okay. Okay. This is inspired by the Silverado tournament. And I know somebody has somebody in the audience. There must be somebody that filmed this fight. Because this is exactly what happened in the fight at the Silverado tournament. And I'm no fool. Somebody out there. They're probably somebody that's I'm not gonna say their background. Okay. This here, I don't know what happened to my ninjutsu teacher. I had a ninjutsu teacher. That's all I'm gonna say about that. In the Genbukan Association, I don't know what happened here to my ninjutsu teacher, but I kind of have some ideas because a few years ago, in the year 2016, I believe there was some violent act in the streets right in front of my house, and the Rurby police may be covering it up. The authorities are covering it up. 2016. That's just before I started training martial arts, and after this, see what happened. It sounded like a bunch of people got murdered in my street, right in front of my house. And Rurby police, I haven't told them about it, but everybody's covering this up. Okay, I'm no fool. I'm no liar. That's me. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me see this. I'll go back. This is what I said to there's a Japanese guy I went against at a karate tournament. I told him, this is one of my lines. I said to this Japanese man, I said, people like us shouldn't even exist in this world, because I felt like he was like, maybe he's a match for me, for my talent. And at the time, I didn't feel like training at the time. You notice they put a red belt on this guy? They put a red, I was wearing blue. I was wearing like a blue belt that day and that. But they put one of those referees, and I think they might have been a cop. They attached a red sash in the back of my blue belt. But let's put red belts on him. Let's put all kind of red on him. And this is exactly what happened here. Let me explain this. So he probably said that to me. But let me say, I don't know who this guy is I went up against. He probably knows the people that are working against me that stole my royalties. I don't know who he is. Okay. See, that's what he did. That flying jump kick, I can do that same thing. It's not a big deal. And see this, I went down, I went back, I ran back at him, I started fighting this guy. I did a drive-through roundhouse kick to him. They kind of modify this fight, everyone. And I lost pretty bad in this fight. But what happened, you see, I had a dislocated shoulder from a car accident in 2005. And, they make it out like I won this fight. See how they put his shoulder going back there? See that? They make it out like I won this fight. But I wonder if somebody else won this fight against him. And I don't know, maybe they just made it out like he did. That's a Subak Do move. How they drive through that punch. See that? You make it out like a chain, kicking chains. And does that sound familiar? Yeah. All these things. Let me go over this again. Okay? Let's go over this again. See this? See, Look at that G. See, look. They're not going to say nothing, are they? G Corporation? Yeah, G Corporation. Yeah, I know it's a G Corporation. But Genbu Khan, I think maybe one of our dojo chos might have fallen that day. And might have, I don't know if he's, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But I didn't, okay. Alright. Let me just turn this down here. I don't really know if this is what happened, but I want to be clear about this. I was sleeping, I was halfway asleep, I was halfway awake. When I'm talking about this incident in 2016, I never told the authorities what happened. But I did tell my doctor what happened, and that's after I was, hospitalized or whatever. But see, this is the problem here. They may not tell people what really happened in front of my house because I believe there was some big, like, violent incident. And how do I know this? I was in my bed and I was just halfway asleep, but I was awake at the time I woke up, but I just stared at the walls. I wasn't like dreaming or a nightmare. No, I do clearly remember I was staring at the walls. I clearly remember I was staring at the walls, and I heard all this violent act going on. I heard familiar voices of people I think I know. There were very familiar voices of people I know, like an argument, like shouts and screams and stuff, and it sounded like people were even murdered in the street, and like a real violent. I think there's someone doing judo in the street. I think someone was doing judo in the street and throwing people on their backs and breaking bones, and there's a lot of sounds I heard. Like it sounded like maybe a stab, and then I heard a gunshot. And there's people, I think even my own parents are covering up something. They're not saying what they don't want to say because they have some agreement. I think maybe in review to cover something up. Now this really did happen, but let me explain this. In 2016, right after this incident happened, you know what happened? I freaked out. And I actually thought that my younger brother was I accused of him something because I thought, like, what, let me see. Let me explain. What really happened with me and my brother that time, I was trying to get information from him or something because I knew that something happened that day. And I was actually very wide awake when that happened. But I was going through an anxiety problem. I had some anxiety going on, and then what happened there was like, I had anxiety, and I didn't go out there. Let me explain. I wasn't trained in martial arts at all. In 2016, I wasn't trained in martial arts for a lot of years. I just started training the martial arts in the year 2017, the next year. But after that happened in 2016, I was traumatized. That traumatized my mind. I still have some memory flashbacks of the night that there's some things that happened. 2016 is going back 7 years in the past. It's 2023 or 2016 in the summer. There's problems that happen there. And I remember seeing sirens. I remember seeing the ambulance, the police sirens out there. It sounded like someone got murdered there in the street in front of my house. Now my ninjutsu instructor, I'm not going to say his name, but I can't, how to say it. I don't want to even look into it. I just know something more, and you know what? I'm not getting accepted at my karate class for some reason. They're not letting me train there, so I kind of wonder why. I don't know why. Okay, see this? They're giving little indications. See, why do they have that head there? See this? Look at this. This is like, if you read between the lines, why do they have this head here? This head just, sitting there. You see that? Now, look at all this. See this? Look at that. Okay. Now, I lost this tournament But let me explain. The only reason I lost it, I'm not trained. And let me say this: when I lost this match, the only reason I was training with instructor Silvera, I'll just say his name, instructor Oscar Silvera. The reason I was trained there is because they wouldn't let me train in Lincoln Park Subak Do. And let me explain this: when I did train with Oscar Silvera, he wasn't training me hard enough. And the reason he wasn't training me hard enough was because they kept shutting down his facility. They kept shutting down his facility because I don't know why, but I think one reason, okay, one reason that I do actually know why is because he could not afford to buy the equipment he needed to train people in Shotokan karate. He was training people Shotokan karate. That's a very dangerous, more ancient art than Subakdo. And Shotokan karate is more dangerous. There's more, bone breaking and different, more deadly parts of the art. So, how to say this? I'm saying these people's names somewhat on the internet, but I don't know how to explain this to people. This is a tournament. This is based off of a tournament, and I'm trying to claim, my royalties for Tekken. I've been used all along these years for, for Tekken. My moves are the Tekken moves for Shenmue, and I don't know how else to say this because let's watch it again. Okay, here it is again. Okay, there's the head. What reminds me of my ninjutsu teacher. Let me explain this. Okay, I actually thought I heard screams and cries and stuff outside, but I was going through anxiety pretty bad, and I didn't know what to do. I heard like even a gunshot or two, and there's like a lot going on that I'm not even mentioning in this video that I thought I heard. So I have to put this information out there because I'm not getting my royalty money. I'm not getting nothing that I earned from that Karate Federation, the United States Subakdo Mudo Kwan Federation. Yes, that's correct. And now, when I said the name Oscar Silvera, let me say this. I do respect Sensei Oscar Silvera a lot. He's representing Japan, and he's representing his dojo in Westland, Michigan, and also in Plymouth, or is it Pontiac, some other city. But I respect Oscar Silvera a lot. Yes, I do. It's how to explain this. It's just the fact that his tournament was something I did attend. Now, when I do say that the only reason I trained with him was because they wouldn't let me train in the other facility, that's actually not a complete statement, because that's one reason I trained with Oscar Silvera was because I wasn't getting the kind of training I was looking for with him. I wasn't getting that training. But when I went to the United States Subakdo Mudo Kwan Federation, I got my training that I was looking for. Now, to make that point across, okay, I established that part. But, you see, when I train with Oscar Silvera, my instructor there, it's just, he's a cool instructor, and he's a real strong, powerful sensei in that, but it's just, the problem I've had was, okay, I'll say it one time. I wasn't getting the kind of training I need, but I know that was because he couldn't afford to, buy all the equipment and that to train people that way. But there was he did have some places where I could go train to get better training, and there was it sounded like some pretty good training where you would go to like a park. But I couldn't drive out that far, and I didn't have the gas. I don't live very close to where his training sites are. So, how to really say this, I couldn't really avail myself to his training sites. And I know that I have this legacy in my past from all going back to when I was like 10 years old or 14, kind of like both. And I do thank the Don instructors for using me. I thank these guys for making me that guy, for making me Jin Kazama, for making me this Ryozuki guy, and for making me also Kazuma Kiryu. I think I inspired that guy a lot if I was to go to Japan, because that's probably what I'm kind of like now that I'm older, becoming that way a little bit. But this is the point I'm making across here. I, uh, I need to be compensated for what I've done for these games, and I don't know. See, I don't know like how else I'm gonna make it, because I'm going through some really hard times. I'm going through some really hard times financially, and then if I keep having no money, no job, I have a lot of stress. This might just kill me to not get my royalties, and I don't want to be like, oh, I just want a free handout. That's what people might say. If I can make people jealous, oh, that Ryan Salazar, Retro Riziki 81, his moves are nothing. He's just a joke. People think that's funny. You think that's a joke, everyone? Really? You know how like hard it is for a lot of people to do the moves I do. You know how many people can do the moves I do and do it just like I do it. Maybe they can do it. Some of those people that people like, oh, I know he can do that. Well, if he can do that, whoever he is, you know, does he have my looks? See, this is why I'm getting my royalty money. I'm supposed to. My looks are also used for Ryo Hazuki. My looks are also used for Jin Kazama and this Kazuma Kiryu, and then even Inuyasha going that far too, really, for the face. Um, they use my looks for different aspects. I inspired. Now, let me say this. I asked my Don instructors to do this for me. I want to make it real clear. I did ask my Don instructors to do this for me, and I did ask my Don instructors to give me money. My cry teachers, he said, oh, so you want me to try to give you some money? And I said, yes. And the reason I asked them that was because I was going through mental illness in 1995. From 1993 to 95, I was going through people tormenting me in school about my clothes, about my braces, about my hair, about my crooked teeth, or whatever the hell it is. People would pick on me like you cannot even believe, in Melvindale, Michigan. And I had people that were just like that, and people wouldn't accept me sometimes. Like, if I had a girlfriend, I might get killed over that. You see, it's like I made everybody jealous. All my life, I've made everybody jealous for being Mexican. And that's part of it, even if I'm part Mexican. Like Vicente Fox. Or if I don't know, let me say this. I shouldn't repeat Vicente Fox. I don't know. I don't know if he's part Mexican, or I don't even know. He's Mexican. You know what they say? If you're Mexican, you're Mexican. You don't even have to be half Mexican. You don't have to be half Mexican to be Mexican. You don't have to be all Mexican to be Mexican. You can be completely white or black, and you're still Mexican if that's your cultural background. You know how they define Hispanic? They define it like this. If it's your cultural background, if it's like the way you live, if it's your background and your culture, then yes, you're Hispanic. And it's just that simple. It doesn't mean you're not Latino. No, you're Latino. You're Hispanic. See, there's different ways to categorize races and genders and people like this in America. If you don't believe me, get online, do your research, because I'm not that dumb to say this. People don't understand. I am Hispanic, and I am all these things, but it's just that in Michigan, if you don't get your credit, you don't get your royalties, I don't get respected for who the hell I really am. This is the hell I've been going through for a lot of years. And who am I supposed to blame? I don't even want to repeat who I'm really supposed to blame sometimes, because I'm trying to protect my life and my family's life and their lives and my identities, because this is a big deal. Who the hell I really am. And that's what I have to make clear here. I'm almost at 20 minutes. let me explain this. I'm very happy that people are enjoying my content. And I'm happy to say that. I'm going to finish this introductory on next video.